Hello grades and learners! Let me share this video with you to guide you in understanding CLAID Module 3B with the topic Determining the Next Terms of a Geometric Sequence. In a geometric sequence, each term is found by multiplying the previous term by the common ratio r. So, mas madaling makuha yung next term of a given geometric sequence kung sa umpisa pa lang alam na kung paano i-identify ang common ratio. Now, let's have this example 2, 6, 18, 54, and 162. Sa previous module natin, napag-aralan ninyo kung paano kunin ang common ratio. And that is by dividing any term by its preceding term. So, let's say we have second term divided by the first term. So, 6 divided by 2 is 3. Third term divided by second term. So, 18 divided by 6, and so on. So, yung nahuling term divide by naunang term. So, in this case, our common ratio is 3. Now, to get the next terms of this sequence, gagamitin natin itong common ratio na 3. So, that is, we will be multiplying 162, yung last given term, with the common ratio. So, 162 times 3 is 486. Then, 486 times 3, so 1,458. So, ganun lang. Una, kunin ang common ratio and then gamitin ang common ratio to get the next term by multiplying it to the last given term. Now, let us find the common ratio and the next two terms of the following geometric sequence. We have 4, 8, 16, and 32. Now, pag kinuha natin ang common ratio, we have 8 divided by 4 is 2. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Then 32 divided by 16 is equal to 2. So, the common ratio here is 2. To get the next two terms, si 32, last term na given, times 2, 64, times 2 is 128. Next, 48, 24, 12. Kunin natin ang ratio. So, that is 24 divided by 48 o kaya naman 12 divided by 24. And the answer is 1/2. Tama ba? Okay. So, 48 times 1/2. So, kunin mo yung, to check, no? 48 times 1/2. So, kunin mo yung kalahati ng 48, 24. Times 1/2, kunin mo yung kalahati ng 24, and 2. That is 12. Now, to get the next two terms, 12 times 1/2, kunin ang kalahati ni 12, and that is 6. Then, times 1/2, kunin ang kalahati ni 6, and that is 3. Let's have the next set of examples. -2, -10, -50. Para makuha ang common ratio, second term divided by first term. -10 divided by -2. So, pagka magkapareho ng sign, mapaparehong positive, parehong negative, the answer is always positive. So, -10 divided by -2 is positive 5. Ganun din ang -50 divided by -10. Positive 5 pa rin yun. So, the common ratio is 5. Ngayon, to get the next two terms, yung last term na given na -50 times 5 natin. And that is -250. Times 5 ulit, and that is -1,250. Example number 4. -4, 12, and -36. So, napag-aralan din natin na nakaraang module, no? Given that the sequence is geometric, kapag ka-alternating ang signs ng mga terms, therefore, the common ratio is negative. Now, to check, second term divided by first term, 12 divided by -4 is -3. Ganon din naman, ang -36 divided by 12 is -3. So, the common ratio is -3. Now, para makuha ang kasunod ni -36, so -36 times negative 3. O tandaan, kapag nagmumultiply ng pareho ng sign, the answer is positive. Kaya ang sagot or ang next term natin ay 108, positive 108. Now, para makuha ang kasunod kay 108, so times ulit natin sa common ratio na negative 3. So, 108 times negative 3 is negative 327. So, pwede nyo ring i-check, dapat alternating ang signs nila. So, negative, positive, negative, positive, and negative. Let's have example number 5. 648, negative 108, and 18. So, ito medyo malaki-laki. So, pwede naman kayong gumamit ng calculator na to check your answers. So, we have here, the common ratio is negative 1 over 6. So, pansinin, alternate ulit ang sign, positive, negative, positive. So, para nakuha ang negative 1 over 6, so negative 108 divided by 648. So, kung nalalakihan kayo dyan, given naman na ang sequence ay geometric, so pwede nyong gamitin yung mas mababang value ng terms, So, 18 divided by negative 108. So, we have here negative 1/6. Now, to get the next term, multiply natin ang last given term na 18 with negative 1/6. O, pag nagmumultiply tayo na magkaiba ng sign, the answer is negative. So, 18 times negative 1/6. So, parang 18 times 1 or 18 times negative 1 is negative 18 divided by 6. So, negative 3 yon. Then, negative 3 times yung common ratio natin na negative 1/6. Paano siya naging 1/2? So, negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Then, over 6, copy lang natin yung denominator. So, ang 3 over 6 ay pwede pang i-lowest term. And that is 1/2. So, si 3 over 6 divide by 3 over 3. Okay. Let's have the next example. Negative 16, 24, negative 36. So, para makuha ang common ratio, second term divided by the first term. Then, third term divided by the second term. So, dito muna tayo sa unang dalawa. 24 divided by negative 16. So, since hindi natin pwedeng i-divide yan ng eksakto, so, pwede tayong mag-reduce sa lowest term na ito, i-reduce sa lowest term. So, on 24 and 16, kunin natin ang kanilang greatest common factor, GCF, and that is 8. So, divide natin yan by 8 over 8. So, 24 divided by 8, and that is 3. Okay? The negative 16 divided by 8, and that is 2 or negative 2. So, we have here negative 3 halves. So, i-check natin gamit yung third term divided by the second term. So, negative 36 divided by 24. Again, kunin natin ang kanilang GCF. So, 36 and 24, pwede ba siya by 12? So, negative 36 divided by 12 is 3 or negative 3. Then, 24 divided by 12 is 2. So, kung mapapansin nyo, pareho ang kanilang common ratio. So, kahit alin naman dyan ang gamitin ninyo, given naman na ng sequence ay geometric. So, the common ratio is negative 3 halves. To get the next two terms, so negative 36 times negative 3 halves. So, negative times negative is positive, 36 times 3, tapos divided by 2, 54. Pwede rin namang 36 divided by 2, and that is 18 times 3, 54. So, pareho lang. Any process, pwede yon. Then, 54 times negative 3 halves. So, para makuha ang negative 81, we have 54 times negative 3, tapos yung sagot doon divided by 2. Pwede rin namang 54 divided by 2, and that is 27. Tapos, ita-times ka yung numerator na negative 3. So, we will arrive at the same answer. Next, we have 7/4, 7 over 16. So, solve natin yung common ratio. So, di ba, para makuha ang common ratio, we have second term divided by the first term. So, we have 7/4 divided by 7. Now, napag-aralan natin ng previous module na pagka nag-divide tayo ng may fraction, ang gagawin natin is we get the reciprocal of the second fraction or the second given number. So, copy natin si 7/4. Then, kunin ang reciprocal ni 7. Tandaan, since this is a whole number, ang kanyang denominator ay 1. So, that is 7 over 1. Pag kinuha ang reciprocal, that is 1 over 7. And then, proceed sa multiplication. So, cancel natin to si 7. Kasi 7 that is 1 over 1. And then, ang natira na lang ay si 1/4. Pwede rin naman gamitin ninyo yung third term divided by the second term. So, that is 7 over 16 divided by 7/4. Again, copy the first fraction. Get the reciprocal of the second fraction. So, itong 7/4 naging 4 over 7. Then, proceed to multiplication. Again, cancel natin itong 7 and 7 because that is equal to 1. Then, si 4 and 16, pwedeng i-divide natin sila. Ang GCF nila ay 4. So, pwedeng i-divide by 4. So, 4 divided by 4 is 1. Then, 16 divided by 4 is 4. Kaya, lumabas pa rin si 1/4. Okay? So, the common ratio is 1/4. Now, paano makukuha ang next two terms? Yung last term na 7 over 16 times the common ratio na 1/4. Ngayon, pag nagmumultiply tayo ng fractions, di ba? Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So, 7 times 1 is 7. 16 times 4 is 64. Kaya tayo naging 7 over 64 ang next term. Then, after this term, para makuha ang next term, times ulit ng common ratio na 1/4. 7 times 1 is 7. 64 times 4 is 256. Ngayon, kung nahihirapan kayo sa pagkuha ng common ratio that involves fraction, pwede nyo namang tingnan na lang muna ang numerator, ang pattern sa numerator, and then tingnan ang pattern sa denominator. So, tandaan itong 7 na to, may denominator to na 1. No? So, tingnan nyo yung pattern sa numerator. So, 7, 7, 7. So, ang ratio nun ay 1. So, parang nagta-times 1 ka lang. 7 times 1, 7. 7 times 1, 7. No? Kaya, ang numerator natin sa common ratio ay 1. And then, ang denominator natin ay 1, 4, 16. So, nagmumultiply tayo by 4, no? 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Kaya, ang denominator ng common ratio natin ay 4. So, pwede rin yun. As long as wala tayong nilalabag na concept and we arrive at the same answer. Next is 1 over 28, 1 over 14, and 1 over 7. Let us solve for the common ratio. Second term divided by the first term. So, pwede nyong gamitin yon. 1 over 14 divided by 1 over 28. Again, copy the first fraction, reciprocal ng second fraction. So, that is 28 over 1. Then, proceed to multiplication. This is equal to 1. Then, 28 divided by 14 is 2. Okay, so ang lumabas na ratio dito ay 2. Ganon din naman kung ang gagamitin mo ay third term and second term. 1 over 7 divided by 1 over 14. Copy the first fraction, reciprocal ng second fraction, proceed to multiplication. Cancel, this is equal to 1. Then 14 divided by 7 is equal to 2. So, kahit alin doon, kung alin man dyan, dalawang magkasunod na terms ang pwede nyong gamitin. Given naman na geometric. So, kung saan kayo mas madadalian. So, the common ratio here is 2. So, para makuha ang kasunod kay 1 over 7, times 2 tayo. So, si 2, i-multiply lang natin kay numerator, ano? So, 1 times 2 is 2. Then, simply copy the denominator na 7. Then, 2 sevenths times common ratio na 2. So, again, 2 times 2, 4. And simply copy the denominator na 7. Number 9, 5 halves, 5 thirds, 10 over 9. Kunin ulit natin ang common ratio. So, pili lang kayo. Alin man dyan. Second to first or third to second. So, try natin pareho. We have second term divided by the first term. 5 thirds divided by 5 halves. So, copy the first fraction. Reciprocal ng second fraction. Then, proceed to multiplication. Cancel si 5 because this is equal to 1. So, naiwan si 2 thirds. Ganon din naman ang lalabas pag ang ginamit nyo ay third term divided by the second term. So, 10 over 9 divided by 5 thirds. So, copy 10 over 9. Reciprocal ng second fraction, we have 3 fifths. Then, proceed to multiplication. Etong 10 and 5, pwede nating i-divide by 5, ano? So, ito yung magiging 1, ito magiging 2 na lang. Then, si 3 and 9, pwede nating i-divide by 3. So, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now, pwede nating i-multiply yung mga naiwan. So, we have 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 1 is equal to 3. So, 2 thirds pa rin naman ang lalabas. So, the common ratio here is 2 thirds. Para makuha ang kasunod kay 10 over 9, i-multiply natin with the common ratio 2 thirds. So, again, pag nagmumultiply ng fractions, numerator sa numerator, denominator sa denominator. 10 times 2 is 20. 9 times 3 is 27. Then, to get the next term, multiply ulit natin kay 2 thirds. 20 times 2 is 40. 27 times 3 is 81. So, we have 40 over 81. Number 10, we have 3a squared, 3a raised to the 5th power, 3a raised to the 8th power. So, the common ratio is a cube. So, paano nakuha si a cube? So, makikita naman ang interval ng kanilang exponents ay 3. Kasi when we multiply, law of exponent natin, when we multiply two expressions with the same base, we simply add the exponents. O kaya, to check, second term divided by the first term. So, 3a raised to the 5th power divided by 3a squared. So, cancel natin to si 3. This is equal to 1. Then, a raised to the 5th power divided by a squared. Diba, pag nagdi-divide tayo ng expression with the same base, we simply subtract the exponents. So, the answer is a cube. Ganon din naman kung ang gagamitin natin ay yung third term divided by the second term. So, 3a raised to the 8th power divided by 3a raised to the 5th power. So, makakancel natin si 5 because that is equal to 1. Then, ganun din, a raised to the 8th power over a raised to the 5th power. Subtract lang natin ang exponents. So, we have a cube pa rin. Now, to get the next term, si 3a raised to the 8th power, i-times natin sa common ratio na a cube. So, we have 3 times 1. Ito ay may coefficient na 1, no? So, 3 pa rin. Then, a raised to the 8th power times a cube. We simply add the exponents. So, we have a raised to the 11th power times the common ratio ulit na a cube. So, 3 times yung coefficient nito na 1. So, that is still 3. Then, a raised to the 11th power times a cube is a raised to the 14th power. So, we simply add the exponents. Happy learning!